Hello, and welcome to In the Moment with Ziri and Janet. This is the show where we talk about being in the moment, just as the name suggests. And you may be wondering what is being in the moment. You'll soon be finding out. But first of all, let's introduce ourselves. I am Ziri Dafranchi. I'm a UK-based inspirational author and poet, and I'm here resident in London, United Kingdom. And with me, of course, is my co-host.
This is Yanet Gonzalez. Greetings, everyone, from the America Sunshine State of Florida, and welcome to In the Moment.
Thank you, Janet. This is a beautiful day to be alive. Wondering what is in the moment all about. You may have heard about mindfulness. You may have heard about consciousness, self-consciousness, awareness, self-awareness. And you're wondering, what is this? These are not just merely jargons, that are used in psychology, philosophy, sociology, or any other field, well-being and fitness. This is something practical. This is something that we as individuals either are doing or are not doing out of ignorance. So by whatever name you want to call it, the important thing it is about self. And having said that, the show is not about us. We are not here to promote ourselves. We're actually here to share our journey and our experiences with hope that you would learn, one thing or more through this. And we welcome your feedbacks because the journey is still ongoing. Perhaps there are also things that we could learn from you. So please feel free to make your contributions in the comment section. We hope to read through and also get back to you. So a little bit about in the moment and the background, to that. On my own part, my personal experience is what brought me into writing was actually things I began to uncover, at the time that I actually took time to reflect upon my own life. And that reflection took me deep, into discovering more about myself. You'll be surprised that you think you know yourself, but when you actually sit with yourself to learn, to ask yourself questions, you begin to realize that you don't even know much about this person that you call me. So that is what happened to me. And as this introspection progressed and I began to find more about myself, then I took to writing. So that is how I express my self-awareness or self-consciousness. And there are others who, express whatever their discoveries are, by other means. I mean, there are those who having, experienced, some form of awareness or self-awareness or awakening or consciousness, actually go on to begin to coach other people or to teach other people on this area. And that is where Janet, my co-host, actually fits in, because she is not only an author, published author, she is also a coach. She's a practitioner. She teaches this. So I'm going to ask you, Janet, if you don't mind, just for our audience, just to share with us your own experience. How did it start for you? Self-awareness.
Yes, thank you, Ziri. Self-awareness started with me when I understood that I am not alone in this planet. I know that we self-identified with our activities, our actions, our families, our friends, and little by little we become separate from not only from ourselves, but separated from other people. And I see the matters of the world today. We have not had a moment of true peace in a few years. speaking globally. And these matters of humanity have always been very important for me. They are at my heart because people are at my heart. And I became a coach because I understand that each of us have an ability and a possibility of bringing light to other people's life, because the problems that we go through, the situations that we can resolve, the experiences of our life are very common to other people. And even if they're not common, you always have a teaching, you always have something to say that you know is going to help other people. We have throughout history great minds and great heroes of humanity. And I believe that if every one of us have a perspective that we're not alone, that we should share with each other our experiences in an attempt to help each other, life is more convenient and more beautiful, and we can all prosper in that way. My coaching work, it's not only towards consciousness and humanity, but also self-development and self-growth, where we can understand what are our limitations, why have we lose our self-awareness, why are we not in the path that we want to be. And it's a very generic topic, but you can divide and exactly see with a client, with a person, why his or her path is not going the way they want. You can, through conversation, interaction like this in the moment, we can know where everybody is in their path and help them out.
Thank you, Janet. That is interesting that you talked about growth and development, because all of these, they go hand in hand. As we grow, we develop. And how do we grow? By learning new things, knowledge. And then, of course, we apply those things, put them into practice, the application. And then we grow. And then as we grow, over time, we develop. And that is our aim in the moment, to help, everyone on the journey to grow, self-growth, to develop self-development, as they become more and more aware of themselves, self-awareness. And we're going to go straight and look at what is self-awareness and how can we become aware of self. Oftentimes we may not even realize what works for us. We may not even realize our true selves. We may, because of societal definitions and norms, put ourselves in boxes. Oh, I'm an introvert. Oh, I'm an extrovert. I'm this, I'm that. Sometimes some people who believe that they are more introverted, when they take time to now explore themselves, they begin to realize that they're not that introverted as much as they thought. They might even actually be extroverted, or vice versa. And then there are people who would say, oh, I am open-minded. In other words, they are objective, they are willing to accept different thoughts, ideologies, and explore it objectively. But then when they're exposed to something new, this is more or less part of my experience, growing up, based on the background that I had. I would have classified myself as as somebody who open-minded. But looking back, I realized that I wasn't quite open-minded, because I wasn't willing to consider other religious beliefs other than the one I was brought up in. And not only that, even within the particular religion itself, I was also very dogmatic without even realizing that I was, But when my journey began, and I began to be more aware, I began to realize that actually I had been closed-minded for a good number of years, running into decades of my life. So what I'm saying here is, if I hadn't taken the time to actually look inwards and see how I react or respond to things and to issues, I could have still carried on believing that I'm a very objective and open-minded person. And I would have carried on with that self-delusion. And that could have, affected me in so many ways. So self-awareness is key. It's very, very important. Otherwise, it could be like you plant a dummy plant, not a real plant, not a live plant. You think it's a plant, really, and then you're, investing in yourself, pouring water in it, giving it all the food, doing all. But this plant is plastic.
Right.
It can't take anything, from this. It can't utilize any of those things that you're pouring into it. So if you're listening and you're wondering, why do I need to be self-aware? This is one of the key reasons you have to be self-aware. And this is why we have this show. But not only that, with this also, the fact that we could often believe ourselves to be who we are not. I want you to come in, Janet, and maybe from your own experience, maybe from one of your students that you have coached, if you have, throw in a little bit more light in this aspect of people not being aware of themselves, and as a result, they are living a false life, maybe not intentionally, okay, but they're living a false life because they have assumed a wrong identity or personality for themselves.
Yes, Ziri, what I have noticed with my clients is that almost everyone that you interact while coaching is that there is a concept of that we're familiar with, and it's the concept of I am. The concept of I am only addresses the being inside of a human individual. When we are little, we are this small, pure baby, unidentified with anything, and you can see a being as that little baby without identifications. But what ensues is that we begin collecting experiences from the environment as we grow in our from childhood to adulthood, teenager stages. We go collecting these experiences of life, and what happens is that I become someone that I am not. And this is, for example, I am a child, I am a teacher, I am an engineer, I am a writer. And what happens is that you define yourself like if you were that concept, and we need to separate I am from the concept of teaching, writing, speaking. You can be anything you want by way of education, but you are not a teacher. You are first a human being. You are not a writer. You are first a human being. And what has happened is that we have identified I am with everything else. I am a dancer. I am a singer. No, I am not a dancer. I dance. I am not a singer. I sing. Because even when you see this, I am connected to everything else except yourself. You lose who you are in the process of connecting with everything else. And even farther than this, it limits who you are. Because when I say I am a dancer, I am actually limiting myself from being anything else. I may be able to sing as well, but because I have said in my mind, I am a dancer, I am limiting, I cannot do anything by dance. No, just say I dance, I sing, I write poetry, I speak, and then you will feel so free to do everything else that you want to do. But this is the fundamental cost of our identifications is that you identify with everything that you are not. And you, in that process, you separate from who you are. You separate from the I am because you are, adding things to the I am that they are really not who you are. You cannot remain a human being, a pure human being, if you are always going by other surnames other than your beingness. So how I see self-awareness is you have to understand that you are just a human being. Everything else you do is for your survival on this planet. You go and you get an education. You go and you get a job. You build a house because you need to take care of your family. But all of those things are helping you on this process of life, but it's not life. You are life. You are the human being. So we disconnect from our beingness, we disconnect from our life in order to be able to survive and in order to be able to be someone, become someone. But in trying to become someone, we forget who we are. And self-awareness, it's just coming from this concept that we are separated from ourselves the minute we become identified with anything else. Just take, for example, I have many clients that come to me and the first open answer is, I like this, I dislike that. If we go on liking and disliking, it's also another issue with identifying with the wrong themes in life. Because then I can say, I dislike wearing, let's say, white. So I will go on my life wearing black just to support the idea that I dislike white. But this is very limiting because you go on as further as not even painting your house white because you just said one time, I dislike white and I'm always wearing black and whatnot. So liking and disliking, just like becoming unconscious of linking I am with things that you're not, the likes and dislikes that as human beings we have come up with are just unbelievable and unbelievably limiting to our human growth and to our personal growth and to our individual growth. So I have seen disliking and liking very, very linked to people's lack of self-awareness. It is good to be self-aware that just don't like and dislike. Just go by your tendencies, by your experiences, and do that. Do that, because what happens is this. I say, I don't like a particular person because they are from a particular country. Well, we have had many issues because people are starting disliking other races, let's just say. So liking and disliking begins at the individual perspective, but it goes global. It actually brings human issues at large. Whatever happens in an individual, awareness or unawareness will affect other people in society.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks so much, Janet. You quite elaborated on this, and I mean, you've given a lot of interesting points. I want to just pick one or two, which is because we're talking about self-awareness. We're talking about being in the moment. That's the name of our podcast. For you to be in the moment, you need to know. You need to know yourself, because it is that being, that human being, that is going to be in the moment. Otherwise, it is difficult to actually position yourself, to be present in the present if you're unaware of who you are. And like you said, Janet, oftentimes, and this is very common, we identify ourselves with maybe the job we do, maybe our position in our social status, our educational achievement, even sometimes with our hobbies, so-called personality traits and all of that. But these are trappings, these are trappings upon, layered upon the core. So the who we are, the I am that Janet refers to, is at the core.
Yes.
Is at the core. So the self-awareness or self-consciousness journey is all about peeling off those trappings, peeling off like the onion, peeling off all those layers to see the being at the center, because that is the real us. If all these things are taken away, this is what is left for us.
Yes.
So this is where we are headed to. And I hope that at least with this little discussion, you have a better understanding of where this podcast is heading. Because we want to keep it brief, as they say, keep it short and simple, so that we don't, it doesn't become boring. But of course, we're going to be winding down or wrapping up this particular session. But that is not to say that you wouldn't be hearing from us anymore. You'll be hearing from us again soon. And in subsequent episodes, we are going to be looking at other topics that are also connected to self-awareness, that are also connected to being in the moment. But before we sign off for today, Janet, do you have any last words for our viewers?
I would like to see our viewers back, because Ziri and I, we have lots of fresh concepts and experiences to share. And we would like to see you back, because there is a lot of learning to do, and there is a lot of concepts that we want to share with you, and we want to go on this journey together with you, and make our lives better in that way.
Thank you, Janet. And yes, of course, echoing or seconding what Janet just said. We want you to come back. And not only that, if this is benefited you in any way, please share with your friends, invite them to the channel, invite them to watch, invite them to, making their contributions, make a comment, leave a comment. What do you think about self-awareness? What do you think about our title, the caption for our podcast in the moment? Let's have your views. Is it what is it when you hear in the moment? What comes to mind? And also, let's have your views. Let's have your views upon today's discussion. Leave us a comment. If you want to share your personal stories, please do let us know. If you want to make any contributions, also let us know. If you want us to consider any specific topics, maybe an area that you're struggling with, also do let us know. So this is us signing off in the moment with Ziri and Janet. And we want to thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye now.
Bye.